Welcome to A Mind for Life. We're out here today with a new video series. I know it's been a while. We're in a new location. We're going to jump right into these videos like we always do. So A Mind for Life is a channel offering spiritual philosophical technology so that you can live your truth. I've said this over and over again. Now, we're going to get into a new series here called the Aha Revolution. The Aha Revolution. It's a simple way for me to kind of put this into a context. Now, with A Mind for Life, and I said this before, there's two things I want you to keep in mind while you're watching these videos. Number one, I want you to keep in mind that this is inclusive stuff, meaning that it's both and, not either or. See, the dominant way of thinking in this world is either or. She's either a fireman or she's a mom. She can't be both. He's either a church member or a football player. He can't be both. But in this universe, we are both. We are bigger than the either or. So in this universe, the Mind for Life universe, she is a fireman and she's a mom. He's a church member and a football player at the same time. Okay? And maybe many more hats and roles than that at the same time within the same person. Inclusivity, both and. And also, the knowledge on this channel is about he who has an ear, let him hear, right? It's about that. It's about inner revelation is what it's about. Things being revealed to you. You know, when I'm talking to you right now, I'm talking one word at a time, right? When I read a book, I'm reading the book one word at a time. Revelation doesn't work that way. When things are revealed to you, the whole is revealed at once. It's as if you can read my mind. It's as if everything I had to say to you, I gave it to you in one block of knowledge, not one word at a time like I'm talking right now. And there's no amount of thinking or figuring out or arguing that you could do to get this gift, which is the gift of revelation. When knowledge is revealed to you, it is just revealed. It's like pulling the sheet off and you can see everything at once. That's what revelation is. So there are channels where you can go to analyze and critique and debate and do these different things, but not this channel. This channel is for those who can hear what I'm saying. Now, we talk about this Aha Revolution, and this is going to be several videos. So I'm just going to get into it in this video, and then we're going to go further on. This Aha Revolution thing. What's happening in the world right now is a big shift, and you've heard this over and over again. But I see it a little bit differently. Yes, it's a shift, but we're moving into a new way of knowing. That's what's happening. Now, there are levels to this. There's different levels. But the level I'm talking about, when it comes to the intellect, and see, the human being prides itself on its intellect, on its ability to know. That's the whole thing. It can know how to make tools. It can know how to make fire. It can know how to make skyscrapers and airplanes. This is what the human being is really about. Its ability to know. Mankind's, women's kinds, humans' kinds, ability to know. So when mankind is undergoing this shift now, into what it means to know. What does this look like? What is really going on with that? Now, when something, we talk about decentralized and centralized. When something is centralized, it's in one place and it radiates outward. If somebody in your neighborhood sells apples, they're the only ones in that neighborhood that sells apples, right? So therefore, those apples are centralized to that one particular store. Everybody goes to that store to get their apples. You see what I mean? If a certain car is only at a certain car dealership and you can only get it there, that car is centralized to that particular dealership. This is what it means when something is centralized. It means that it's in one place and you can only get it from that one place. The place that has this one car, they only have that car, no other dealership. They can give you information about this car that you can't get from other dealers because other dealers don't have that car. That car is centralized to that one particular place. The same thing goes for information. Where do you get your information from? Now, when information is centralized from one place, it flows through a process, and we're going to talk about that. But let me give you some examples of what it means for some information to be centralized. Where do you get your information about simple things like what is the heart? What are the lungs? Where do you get your information for that? Where do you get your information on how to build a house? Where do you get your information on what it means to be good? What it means to have an afterlife? Where do you get your information on what the afterlife is? Now, we are entering into an era of decentralization of these things, but let's imagine, let's do a thought thing here, experiment, and imagine what it would mean if you could only go to one place for them to tell you what a heart is. You couldn't get this information anywhere else. You could only get it there. And whatever they gave you became what you knew about the heart. It also became what you believed about the heart. Because see, if you didn't know anything, how could you have a belief? So this knowing and belief became common sense about what the heart is, which became a lifestyle built around that centralized information. So it's going from information that is centralized to what is known and believed about the information. It goes from there to common sense. And I made a video called "There's No Such Thing as Common Sense." And that video is still valid. And you can watch this video, you can watch the common sense video. I'll put a link up here. But that common sense becomes your lifestyle. And this information that you got came from a centralized source, meaning this one hospital had, or one research lab had the information on what the heart was, and you got that information. The planets in the solar system, this solar system, where did you get your information on what those are? Where? Just imagine that you got those from your textbook in school. And so you know all 9 planets, or 8 planets, or 12 planets. And you were told what these planets consisted of. You were told what these planets looked like. You were told what these planets, how old they were. You were told where they are. You didn't go to these planets. You got your information from a centralized source, your textbook. It became what you knew about the planet. So when you looked up, you would say, okay, that's Mars. Okay, that's Jupiter. Okay, this is, see, it became what you knew. You had confidence in that, right? That became common sense. Oh, common sense would tell you that Mars is right here. Common sense would tell you that so-and-so is the furthest planet out. It became common sense. And so this is what I'm getting at. When knowledge or information is centralized, it comes from one source, is validated by that same source, becomes what is known and believed, becomes what is common sense, and once it becomes common sense, it becomes a lifestyle. It's only common sense, right? Now, decentralization is what we're going to get into in the next video, because this is what's happening. There is a shift happening, and yes, you can look at it in different ways, but it's a deeper thing to me. It's a deeper shift that's happening on what it means to know. Let's take the afterlife. What is the afterlife? What is it like? What is heaven? What is hell? What do they look like? What do they feel like? What is it going to be like? Are we there now? This is questions that have been answered by centralized sources. The centralized sources that gave the information on this became knowledge, and what was believed became common sense, became a lifestyle built around that centralized information. If the centralized information on that was heaven is a place of clouds and violins and harps, that became what is known. Oh man, yeah, I believe it now. I believe when I go to heaven, I'm going to be around harps and violins, and it became common sense. Common sense would tell me heaven is better than this place because I'm not around harps and violins. Common sense would tell me to live a certain way to get there. Wouldn't it make sense? That became my lifestyle. And I'm just giving an example of information that came from one source, became knowledge and belief, became common sense, and became a lifestyle based on that. So in the next video, we're going to continue with this, and we're going to focus on what it means for information, knowledge, or info, because it starts out as info, to be decentralized. And let me give you something to think about. Most people have computers now, but there was a time when the computers, from what I understand, were huge. They were huge. They weighed a lot. You couldn't just take it home. From what I understand, if you wanted to see what a computer was, you had to go to certain places to see these things. But what happened? What is the PC? The PC means what? The personal computer. It's personal now. Everybody can have this. It's decentralized. Now think about that for a minute. Think about other things, not just physical things, becoming decentralized, and what that would mean, and what that would evolve into. This is what we're going to be exploring in these next videos, okay? So thanks for coming to A Mindful Life. See you in the next video. Peace out.